Hello, Rob. How are you? Hope you can hear me okay. I've had to change the setup slightly for tonight, only just where this camera is, so I can show you the machine embroidery I was talking about. So we're doing something very different tonight. Very different. Anyway, so how are we out there? So I know I've got a couple of people watching. Rob there for one, and a couple of others. So thank you for joining me for my Tuesday inspiration live. Last week we created this project, and we used the Brusho kind of pigment powder ink, which was really good fun to play with. I did it's here somewhere. Tucked it up here. I did a full sheet which I haven't used just yet, but I will use it onto a project. But it looks really cool. I love the kind of colours that's come through on that. I'll pop that up there. And then the week before I couldn't find this project because I'd hidden it somewhere. But there's a project that we did the week before, which was really good fun as well. So if you're new to me, oh, thank you, Rob. Sound is good. You're good, Tart. Good. I'm glad to hear that you were all well and good. Where am I putting those? Up there. If you're new to me, so my whole concept with my kind of craft brand, my stamping brand, is all about card journaling. And actually, the project that I've done tonight, I could put into my card journal, because literally it's just explaining, taking reference from what I've created and making a list, basically. So if you're new to me, card journaling is me, that one, and we just, for those that don't know, we just keep a log of what we've used in a project, and we keep a kind of copy of it. So I could do that for this, but so moving on from this, I could put those projects in there, and I probably will. So last week I showed you that I'd cut out a load of layered art to put into frames. I've got two to show you that I've finished. The others are packed up, ready to go for this weekend. But when I was putting them together Wednesday, I realised I'd cut them all 1/2 inch too big. So I had to recut them, and my mat was not playing, but I managed to do it. Just about. I also ordered a new mat. Of all places, I ordered it from Amazon because I thought the next day, brilliant, just order one because I desperately needed one. And I ordered the wrong one. I ordered the one for the CM, and I don't even know how I made that mistake, because I typed in what I wanted, and I'm sure I double checked, but no, I ordered the wrong one, so that's got to go back. Hi, Kel, hope you're okay, my lovely. All good? Yes, I'm good. Slightly stressed because trying to catch up on myself, but yeah. So this is the finished project. This is the fox, and I'll go back over there because I've got to go wrap it up. And then this is the cat. That's based on my cat Phoebe, who is asleep next door on my bed. We had somebody invade. I say someone. We had another cat invade our house earlier. He's been trying to get in the house all day. We've nicknamed him Thomas because he's grey, like Thomas and Derry. He's very lovely. But I was in the front room with my son. I was just finishing some stuff, and I come out to the hallway, and there he was, laying in my hallway, like it's his home. So I shooed him out. I know whose cat he is. He's one of my neighbours. She's lovely. So I just sent her a picture of the cat, saying, your cat's decided to come and say hello. Look, I'm looking a bit windswept. I got absolutely soaked on the school run because I don't know why or how it manages to do it, but at what time do I so about 8:30 this morning, downpour, got soaking wet, taking Theo into school, and then when I picked him up at 3:15, there was the biggest downpour, literally for 5 minutes, and got absolutely soaked again. My cardigan is still wet. I need to go dry it, but I'll sort that out later. Anyway, so weather, and hopefully it's not going to be raining this weekend. So I'm at Sudley Castle, and the weather looks dire. I really hope it's not that bad, but we'll see. They're fabulous. Oh, thanks, Kel. I love doing layered art, but a little while ago I kind of like took a step back from it because I've been doing it for years, literally years. It's one of the kind of main craft things I do other than free motion embroidery, and but I know that I need to take some for a show because it sells really well, because it's a nice piece. So I have to kind of stay on top of it, but I always want to do something else. So tonight I'm going to show you what I've been working on, and then we're going to recreate one. So I make tea light lanterns with fabric in like it's a little kind of tea light set and the kit, and then you like do whatever fabric you want over the top. But I do free motion embroidery. I've been doing them for years, but I've done some more for stock. So this is my skull inspired one. So what I do is I draw whatever it is that I want. I then paint in a it's this paint, this brand, but it is heat set to fabric. So when you iron it, it should set it. Although I will cover it with a craft sealant. So that's the skull one, and because I make a few of them, but although I've run out of kits now, so I've got 2 of those to add to my stock because I've got none of those left. But these are, so I love all the scully stuff, but not everybody does. So I do some pretty ones as well. So I've got some like meadow grasses and flowers and stuff that I just do the same thing. So it's just a little tea lighty thing. So you use an electric candle, obviously, not a real candle. Go up in flames. Here's a black version of that. But I learnt to do free motion embroidery. Oh, how long ago was it? It was before Theo was born. So probably about 10 years ago, my sister, who is part of the Sussex Guild, one of the ladies that she's part of the guild with is a lady called Lara Starks, and she is such an amazing artist, but she paints, I say paints, with thread. So I went to one of her workshops and I did a cushion and one of these kind of lanterns and was just like, I love this, this is amazing. So I started doing that, and then I started creating my own little foxy brooches because, as you know, I love a fox. Love a fox. And then it kind of like, went from there. So I've got some koi carp brooches and some more foxes and stuff. But yeah, it's just something I got into. But today, so that same skull, because I love the kind of one line, if I can, skull. So we're going to do one of these. Oh, still got some strings from the old glue gun, but we're going to do one of these. Do you reckon you want to learn how I do it? Learn how I do one of these? And I always cover the back nicely, so I use felt, and then I use a little felt tab just as the hanging bit. I probably should use something else, but that works for me. But I've done that, so I've got, I should have 3, but I've only done 2. I've got a couple of different skulls that I do for that, which the 3 are on the thing. So I just do them in all different shapes. All different shapes. So I'm going to show you from start to finish my process, because why not? Let me just have a read of the comments. Yeah, it was super, super windy. Oh my God, it was, yeah. I mean, we had a little umbrella. I say a little umbrella in the back garden, and it got taken over the house and snapped. I'm gutted because I really liked it. It had this leopard on it. It was really cool. Anyway, and Kelly says, "Oh, they are beautiful. You're a dark horse." Yeah, lots of talent. Well, the thing is people tell me that, and I really don't think I do. I say this to my other half all day. He's like, you're so talented. I'm like, nah, other people can do it. So, but thank you for saying that. Amazing what you can do with a thread. I know, I love painting with thread. It's amazing. Like these. So I use so these to get all these different colours. You could use separate threads, and it's the same with the purple. But I've got like these thread spools that are they change colour as you go. So it gives like really nice kind of different tones. But I've got them in lots of different colours. I use Madeira threads because I just find they're really nice to kind of embroider with. Anyway, yes, so yes, you want to learn. Fabulous. We are own work worse. Yeah, we are definitely. I'm so critical of myself. I'm not very nice to myself sometimes, and I have to try and not be like that, but it's really hard sometimes. Yeah, anyway, I'm very much a self-doubter, but I know I shouldn't be. Right, so let me just sort out double check that my camera's in the right position, because I'm going to have to fiddle around with it a little bit in a bit. So the whole process of this is you start with a design, and I use a light box to transfer it onto fabric, like so. I should have probably ironed this fabric beforehand, but this is just kind of like a showpiece to show you guys. And once I've transferred my image onto that, then I'm ready to kind of go. But what I use to transfer it, she says, and I've lost it. I use a pen called a friction pilot pen, and basically it's a kind of like a school pen. They're quite expensive, but as soon as you add heat to it, it disappears. So it's a pen that you can rub out. So as soon as you put your iron onto it, it's gone. So you'd never know you've drawn anything on it as you're kind of... I'm annoyed that I can't find it. I swear I had it next to me. She says. No, can't find it. Anyway, if you want to know, I can put a link to the particular pens I use. They come in school colours, so black, red, blue. But they're really good for doing kind of any fabric transfer, like I'm using tailor's chalk, but a pen, and it just irons out, so it's great. It's great. Right, so I've got my little palette open. I'm gonna flip it a flue round. I'm gonna move it over. I might have to just scoot over a little bit. So I've got my piece. I'm going to bring that down. Ooh, dear. Okay. Yeah. Is that light enough? You fiddle around with me lighting. She says. I don't know if that's any more help or a hindrance. No, lighting is not great, but I'm trying. So with this particular palette, so there are two you can get which have different sets of colours in, and they come with these little colour charts which are pretty cool, which I don't know where the one is, but that is because I've put it somewhere. Of course I have. Where have I put it? It's funny, I think I'm so organised and I'm not. So it comes a bit like this. So you get this little idea of all the colours that you get into the palette. They've got a couple of these, so from the same range that is good for using on fabric. And I only found out about it because I went into Hobbycraft and I was like, right, I need... So I was using watercolour, but obviously as soon as somebody... I don't know, if you dust it or wash it or wipe it, the colour would bleed, and obviously that's not ideal for what I wanted. But I'm just using the black for this one, so I'll just take some of my black, pop it in here, water it down a little bit, right, and that's ready as like kind of what I need. Obviously you can do different colours, but first of all, I know I've got some black on here, but that's no big deal. But what I want to do is I want to make this area wet. So I'm doing kind of like a wet on wet technique, like you would when you're doing watercolouring. So I'm just going to fill in all the areas that I want to add my colour to, and in this case it's black. So I'm just going to try and go up to those lines, and I could use a different paintbrush, but actually I find this to be quite useful because I'm not being precise, because I don't need it to be absolutely perfect, because that's not the idea of my work or this particular piece. It doesn't really matter how neat and tidy I am. Obviously I don't want to get paint absolutely everywhere. But I'm just taking what would be the kind of the dark inner parts of the skull and just laying some of that water down into it, because we're going to blend our colour through it. Right, up here. There we go. Sorry, I go quiet when I'm concentrating. It's weird having the camera right there. Oh. I've usually got it out of the way so I don't have to look at it. Right, so I want to kind of, I create like, with this particular piece, I create like a area underneath it that it's like sitting on, which I quite like. Yeah, I made these the other day. I have a half. I was like, "You're going to put them up?" I'm like, "No, I've got to take these to the show." I will do. I need to do some for me, but I've recently got some of these kits so you can make your own canvases. So you do your canvas, but then you add it to a canvas thingy, a thingamabob. Bob and the thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm coming back over to my black, which is kind of watered down, and I'm just going to start adding that into here, just to kind of get that first layer of colour. You have bled a little bit too much. I've gone a little bit crazy there. So I can always take away some of the liquid as well, in the same way when you do watercolouring. You're just doing it onto a canvas instead. So add that to the top, because for me the shaded part will be here and down to the bottom, which will be lighter. So just keep adding, and when I want to get it really dark, just say I want it much darker, a little bit more black onto there, dab it out a little bit, because this can be quite intense and a bit much. And obviously if you do this, you can let it dry, come back, add some more, as much or as little as you wish. So I'm just going to drag that down a little bit, and then let's bring this in. So I want this bit here quite dark, so I'm going straight from the brush, and then I can just blend it out a little bit, just dragging that colour along. Let's get some of that. I'm just going to keep working, because I want that kind of almost, this is the floor and this is what the skull's sitting on. I know the subject matter isn't particularly cheery, but I do love a skull. I do love a skull. And the reason, so I've got 2 lines here. So with these particular embroidery hoops, or finishing hoops, so that's the inner line and that's the outer line, so I just know what kind of area I'm working in. I do that so I don't either stitch too far the wrong way, or so I do like either paint or stitch enough, because you don't want too much. Well, you know where you want it to go to, don't you? Right. A bit more water in there, a bit more black. More black. Just blend that out. So once you've gotten to the point where you're happy with how much ink you've laid down, or sorry, how much paint you've laid down, and you don't want to do any more, that's when you just have to let it dry. Literally just let it dry. And then you have to come back to it. I wouldn't blow dry it, because using heat onto where the ink is, what the drawing is, will activate it and the drawing will disappear. So just do some and then come back to it. So I'm happy with that. So that I will just leave to one side to dry, but don't worry, I've got one I prepared earlier. Of course I have. Right, I'm going to pop the lid on that and move that out of the way. Let's just give that a quick wipe before I get it everywhere. Okay, so you out of the way. So here's one I did earlier. And obviously I haven't gone as dark, I don't think, with that one. But I could go in a little bit darker, but I might do afterwards. But I'm happy with that. So you can go over here and dry. And you are what we are going to stitch. So you can see, like, there is some gradient in the colour kind of here. You can see how I've gone a little bit darker. So just to do that, I'm going to flip the flue around just as I sort out my sewing machine, just so I can get it in the right spot. Because oh, see, I'm already bashing the camera. Right. You can use any sewing machine for this. You just got to be able to take the what are they called? I want to say dog teeth down, but I think I might be using the wrong phrase. Right. Let's move this over here just a little bit more. Sorry, I'm looking at that. I've got a, so you can see the, yeah, I think we're good. I think we'll pop you there. Or maybe from the other way. Ooh, it's a daisy. Flashing lights everywhere. Right. No, that's not good. That's no good. Oh, maybe I can just do that. Well, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. There we go. Okay, so I've got myself set up. So I'll flip the flue around so you can kind of see my space. So I've got a Bernini. I've had my Bernini for many years. It has metal interior because I'm not a fan of plastic interior, because I've had so many of those machines that have just fallen to pieces. and so is my mum. So and so I was talking about the I don't know the technical names. I taught myself how to use a sewing machine, but the I think they're like dog teeth, they're called. As long as you can put those down, you should be fine. I don't have a guard on, so you can get free motion embroidery feet that go onto your sewing machine, but I don't tend to use one of those. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a small hoop to put my project in, so then it's taut, because it needs to be nice and tight wise with stitching, for us to get the kind of best kind of, oh dear, the best finish on it. Okay, right, come here you. Right, tighten you up and then pull it out. So I'm just doing the tightening. You can see me on the little cam. So actually I'll flip it through you so you can see. So I've popped it into an embroidery hoop, but I've done it the opposite way around, so the fabric will be flat, so for it to move freely on the sewing machine. If it's up that way, there's too much play for the fabric to move and not get a stitch where you want and get caught up. So you need it you need it flat. Now I do occasionally do it freehand, but you've got to really like push that fabric out to do it. It can be a bit yeah, it can be a bit tricky. You've got to be really careful as well, because I don't use a foot. I do have one somewhere, but I don't know where it is, and I haven't used a foot for a long time. But if you're new to it, I would use one. Yeah, I have been stabbed in the finger. I've had a needle through my finger several times and had blood on the project, and told people that that's an extra bit, and they're lucky that nobody else has got it. So I'm in here, and it sounds like a drum, so you know it's nice and tight and not going to move. So that's what you want. So let's back to this one. So I've got my Madeira thread. So this is I think this is I want to say polyester, possibly visco, but it's a strong thread, which it does break, but not as easy to break as cotton. So you need something that is easy. Now when I pull my threads, they should come out at the same tension, but my tension on my machine is a little bit tricky, and it always has been, so I just kind of deal with it. So I'm just going to pop my piece in. Now I've got to make sure, so you know you've got the foot at the back, got to make sure that I've taken the foot off, but the foot lever is down, because that is engaging inner workings to make sure that, you know, it's doing what it should. So I'm just going to line up, and I am going to come out here and stitch in. So with free motion embroidery, I can go any kind of direction I want. I tend to work in this kind of direction because my machine prefers it, but we're all different. Oh, I haven't turned it on. It would help if I turned my machine on. So you got to, with this, because you'll see the needle move. Now I can put it in, because if I don't, it would have broken the needle. We don't want that. We don't want that. So I'm not using a foot pedal. I use the stop-start button on my machine, and then I set the speed. That's just the way I prefer to work personally. But I'm going to start her up. I'm going to stay in one spot for a little bit, just so the threads can kind of knot themselves. And I'm just going to slowly work kind of on the line that I've created. I will come off of it from time to time, because that's just what happens, and that's just the way, well, I don't have a steady hand, but for me, because of the type of projects I do, I kind of like it, because it gives each single one a bit of a different take on it. Now, for some reason, my machine is playing up a little bit. Oh, I was using it earlier. Why are you playing up? Okay. It's all right. My tension is tighter on the top than the bottom, and that's why my thread's been pulled through. I don't mind that, but it wasn't what I was trying to do. What sewing machine do I have? A Bernini. It is a Bernini. I'll show you my sewing machine after, but you can use any sewing machine. I just got a Bernini because, oh, funny enough, because when I did my my free motion embroidery course years ago, she had Berninis and she swore by them. So from that, and that was 10 years or so ago, when I was pregnant with Theo and I decided to get a new sewing machine because mine had died, a plastic one, I decided to invest in this one. Now this particular one is a quilting machine. I don't do any quilting, I do this. And that's okay. I mean, that is totally okay, whatever you want to use it for. But see, look, it's the tension's sorted itself out now. But there are some really good machines out there, and not to say that the plastic ones, the ones that have got plastic inners, aren't good, because some of them are. I just haven't personally had much luck with any of them. So that now she's stitching beautifully. She says for a second. But I am keeping my fingers, trying to keep them as far away as possible, but it can't be helped sometimes. But you just got to be really aware of what you're doing at kind of like at all times. So I'm going to take it up that way, down that way, and hold it there for a second. And there we have, let me just cut it off. There we have our piece. So I'm going to move my sewing machine out of the way. What was that you've written, Kelly? You've only got so far as to make lavender bags and stitch paper. Oh, you've only got, okay. Oh, I've only got, sorry, reading it as me, sorry. Yeah, I know. So I don't use this particular machine to do any stitching on fabric, on paper, because it's a bit too precious for me to do that. But you can see like how cool that already looks. So what we're going to do is we're doing the exact process. So what I need to bring in now is I need to bring in my ironing mat. I need to bring in my iron, which will just take a few seconds to kind of heat up. But I have, what is plugged in there? That's a glue gun, so I'm going to need that. Sorry, printer, you need to go off. I don't need my printer. So I'm going to let that just warm up for a sec. And we'll take this out of the embroidery hoop. And I will just snip off any threads that are still here. Pull through any that I can. And I normally, if it's not already knotted, so it's knotted. So where I kept it in one place, kind of stitchy, it sometimes knots itself when it goes all crazy like that, but that's all right. That's because it pushed back through the thread. So we've got that lovely, lovely, lovely. I always iron on the back side first. Don't really know why. I think because I'm scared that I'm going to burn my project. This is a really old rubbish iron, but it is the iron that I use for all this kind of stuff. And there we go. Give them a quick press. So I'm just going to hold it onto the paint just for a minute. Well, not for a minute, for like, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds. I can't leave it too long because it will burn the fabric. Right, that should, so they say, set it. Should be fine. So I'm going to unplug my iron. That's all I need it for. Move it over there so I don't stick my arm in it like I've done before. But you can see now, it says, let's move that torch over here. So torch, light. One day when I've got a really nice studio, it'll all be so much easier. Right, there we go, that'll do. So we've got, oh, goodness sake, Miss Jordan. Can I move that cable that way? Yes, I can tuck it there. There we go. So we've got our skull. I might just flip the flue so you can see it. That one. There we go. We've got our skull. And the ink has gone. As you can see, the red ink has completely disappeared, which is the beauty of those pens for when I do hand embroidery, machine embroidery. If I'm cutting out, I want to cut shapes for applique, but I'm freehanding it or I'm tracing something, I'll always use one of those pens because they're just so good for this kind of projects, which is crazy, isn't it? Something that's supposed to be used for schools is very useful to us. I'm just pushing my machine out of the way a little. So now next, so ironing mat out the way, and now I need my glue gun on. So I've got a couple of glue guns, but this is the one that I always use. I got the Hobby Tech one. I've always loved this one because it's got a stand, and because it's got the on-off switch. It's just it's a good one, but I've had it for years, and I think I've had it for, I was like everybody else. I used to watch Create and Craft all the time before I was a demonstrator, and was coaxed into buying all the things, and that is one of them. So this is the frame we're going to use. I've already gone ahead, and so I've got this felt sheets. So they're sheets of felt, and they're quite stiff. You can get like floppy ones, and you can get like stiff ones, and the stiff ones are perfect for this, for creating the back of our project like this. So that's what I use that for. So I've already gone ahead and cut that out. But let's get this into, have I switched that on? Yes, I did. Into the frame and positioned how we want it. Kind of want it like that. So we will trim off some of the excess fabric because I'm trying to do it so you can see what I'm doing. I can't I might just have to, you have to kind of wrestle with it a little. Right, stay. There we go. There we go. There we go. So now I'm just going to go around, just pulling it all in nice and tight. And then we'll do some trimming. So that is fine. So I'm going to be sticking it to the inner part here. So that is short enough. But so some of these I'm going to have to just trim down. So just go around, make a little mark with my nail. I could use the pen just to give me some kind of guide to where I need to cut the fabric off, because I don't need all this excess fabric kind of in the project. Don't want to make it too bulky. That is just about fitting there. There we go. So scissors, and where I've just made that kind of little mark, I will just go around and trim. It's a bit of a guesstimation. That one was alright, wasn't it? It's this one. And the last one. And then the glue gun should be ready. Okay, so those bits, unfortunately, bin with you. Now, Sticks 2 ages ago sent me a few bits and bobs, and this was one that I got, and it is very, very useful. I'm just going to double check I've got no threads coming out there. Give it one last little tighten. Okay. Happy with positioning. Got a thread there. Go away you. Go away you. Fab. So what I'll do is I'll start by popping some glue here, and then come in and just press into it to get that stuck into place. And then whoop, went a little bit crazy there. Oh, ow! I always catch this finger. Don't pay attention to what I'm doing. There we go. So if you do this, do be careful. Do you know what I do? Full line. Let's go there, a line across. Fab. So 2 sides are done. I'm going to do top and bottom, and then I'll do the sides. Well, not the sides, but the extra, these little Doujman flips. I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of my friends this weekend. I've got a hat maker friend, Gail, who sometimes watches my videos. I absolutely adore her. And I'm getting to see her at the event, and I cannot wait. Cannot wait to see her. Really looking forward to seeing her. And last one of these. Now I've got to be a little bit careful because it was a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Don't want to burn my finger again. I have burnt my fingers several times today doing this. So come into here, give it a little bit of glue, and then once again just pushing it in to try and give it nice hospital corners. And there we go. There we go. And so, to be fair, once you've had a practice at doing machine embroidery, I mean, depending, like we've literally just done like single lines today and single colours. Oops, sorry about that. Once you've kind of had a practice, and I mean, literally, I've got old bits of fabric that I've literally just done straight lines and squiggly lines and stuff to practice on. And I always do that before I start a project, just to remind myself how it feels, how the machine's feeling, because sometimes my machine does like to play up. So that is looking beautiful. Got glue webs everywhere. But so next is adding my back. So that should fit quite nicely over there. So what I'll do is I will, ooh, finger, I will start there and I will do one kind of side. And then what I always do is I kind of like push it into it. There we go. Let's just get that pushed in, because I want the glue to really kind of bind with the fibres, because I don't want it to be able to come off easily. And we'll do this side. And I'm trying to keep the glue quite close to the inner edge, otherwise it all spills out everywhere. And yes, you can tidy it up, but it's a bit of a mess, a bit of a nightmare. I don't want that. Right. So, good press. Got a bit of glue stuck out there, so when I see a bit of glue that's sticking out, I kind of tease it off, because I don't like the remnants of glue. I'll just get that off my fingers, because oh, there we go. Right, so almost finished. Last step, literally our hanging tab. So I'm going to flip my hand that way, because then when I turn it, it's facing the right way. 2 bits of glue, try and find the centre-ish, and then just hold into position for a second, just to hold it and let it set. Doop-a-doo-doop-a-doo. There we go. We are all done. Free motion embroidery, painted and mounted on into a nice embroidery hoop. These weren't particularly expensive, but they just have a bit of a nicer look to them than the wooden ones. There's nothing wrong with the wooden ones, it's just obviously it just gives a different look to a project. Let me flippity flu. Flippity flu. Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. Kel, you love it. Thanks. It's good, isn't it? Good, isn't it? It's good fun. So this is the one we just did. Don't worry, that one that I've half done I will do, but I've actually run out of these embroidery hoops to fit it into. That's why I just did like a spare one, but it's ready for next time. Like, I've got all the cats and foxes that I cut in the wrong side ready for next time. At least they're ready. So that's that. Thoughts, people? Do we like? I mean, obviously, so if you're into flowers and things, you can do the same techniques as we've done, just doing flowers instead. I mean, and I probably should, because these came out really nicely. You know, I should. Oh. Very good indeed. Oh, thank you very much. Well, I hope that was something very different, crafty wise. A look into the me and my. Have I turned it off? Oh, I have turned it off. Don't worry, I've turned it off. I'm not going to glue gun my finger again, although I burnt it a little bit. If you use a glue gun, please be careful. But yes, that's that. So next week, I'm not sure if I'm going to be live next week. It depends how I'm feeling after the weekend, because I suffer with I get chronic fatigue because of my back and stuff. So I will see how I am. If I am feeling okay after the weekend, we will be going live. If I am completely dead, then probably not. You can draw anything on them. Yeah, literally anything. I was really tempted. So, you know, the spider I showed you last week, I was really tempted to print it out and do machine embroidery of that, but I just didn't have the time. the other day I realised I had a week less than I thought I had. I may have said this last week. To get everything ready. I'm so bad with time and stuff. So bad. But oh well. Oh well, these things happen. So I have tried to get as much as I could possibly get done for the show. And I think I have pretty much got there. I've got my box frame projects, I've got my gothic art, I've got my embroidery, my machine embroidery stuff. I'm going to make some terrariums in a minute. Because I showed you the little skulls I've got, but I've also got, look at these are cute. I've got these little robins, little birdies that I might put in one or two of them on top of the skull. It's a shame it's not a raven, but a very nice lady at a D-Stash event who was in the stall next to me, she was lovely, had these, and she said, who on earth is going to want these? And I'm like, me. Me. I was just like, I have no idea what I'm going to use them for, but I want them. I'm such a child. Such a child. Have a well-deserved break. Busy weekend. Yeah, Kel selling stuff. It will be. I will take, because there's these steampunk guys that have created these amazing machines that drive around and stuff. And I will share a live video or a video of them, because they are, I probably did last year, but they're so good. So good. And lots of pictures and stuff. So I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. But the weather is looking really awful. And I probably said that at the beginning of the live, because the weather's rubbish. But I'm really hoping it's not going to be rubbish. I don't want it to be rubbish. Yeah. Oh well. Fingers crossed it won't be. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to try and switch this off properly, because I always end up switching it off as I'm saying goodbye. I might see you next week, but I will have lots of kind of sneak peeks, pictures and videos and stuff going up about the weekend. So if you can't be there at Fantasy Forest, you'll be able to see some of the fun that's going on from what I share. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely week. It is Tuesday. I'm working tomorrow, which is another thing that I'm like, oh God, I've got to work tomorrow and I've still got to pack everything. Because Mum and I are going on Thursday morning. Anyway, I'm chatting away as usual. So I shall say goodbye. Goodbye. And I'm going to try and turn this off. I think I'm going to turn it off from here. No, if I do that one, I think it carries on. That one.